Okay, so the Cleveland Browns have been a running joke this year, probably far more than they've been in the past, 20, 30 years. And I said in a previous, you know what? I don't even think I put the video up, but I'm pretty sure I said this at some point. I don't know if I ever put it in a video. That there are two things that we either want too much of or we want none of. And that's credit and blame. We either want all the credit or none of the blame. Either or. And they constantly find reasons to blame somebody for whatever situation it is. Look at New England. Who's responsible for the Super Bowls, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? The Cleveland Browns. Who's more at fault? Freddie Kitchens, Baker Mayfield, or Odell Beckham Jr. You know, like who is the problem in Dallas? Jason Garrett or Jerry Jones? So we always looking to pass the blame to somebody, wholeheartedly. But there's nothing wrong with sharing the credit, and there's nothing wrong with sharing the blame. Accountability is missing in today's world. This is why there's so much bullshit happening. There's so much bullshit happening because nobody wants to really take accountability for their own choices or their own missteps. You know, like it's like accountability doesn't exist anymore. You know, whoever we pity or whoever we feel sorry for, they get exonerated, and whoever we don't like or whoever we don't really care for, you know, they get all the blame. So I think that's the problem in Cleveland. Well, no, I think the problem in Cleveland, sorry, I phrased that completely wrong. I think the problem in Cleveland is the media. When Odell Beckham Jr. was traded to the Cleveland Browns and people started talking about him sharing the field with Jarvis Landry again, first time since they were at LSU, they picked up Kareem Hunt out of free agency, which was big news. Nick Chubb apparently was already established back at the time. Baker Mayfield was coming off of a pretty solid rookie season. The defense was getting better. You have Denzel Ward. You drafted Greedy Williams, who was probably one of the best playmakers in the draft this year. You got Myles Garrett, who apparently was already one of the top pass rushers in the NFL. I don't know. It's just, I mean, there's so many positives that this team had at the beginning of the season. But the one question I had about this team was preparedness. Was they going to be ready? Were they going to be ready to answer those questions? Because the media propped them up as a potential Super Bowl favorite. And why wouldn't Baker Mayfield come out and think that he could say whatever you want when your team is as stacked as that team was? You got the coach that you wanted because you like him. The front office seems to have put 100% confidence in you. Why wouldn't you think you could come out and say whatever you want, throw whoever you want under the bus, pretty much take over the team as the leader, even though you have never proven since you've been in the NFL that you can be the leader? I mean, because it takes more than just brashness and bravado to prove that you're a leader. Sometimes it takes cooperation, delegation. It takes insight. Insight that a young guy at the age of 21, 22, yeah, he doesn't have that yet. That kind of thing, it develops over time. And some people just don't have it at any point in their career. There's nothing wrong with it. There are some all-time great players in sports, period, not just football, that they were great winners, but they weren't great leaders. Like, look at LeBron James. Not a great leader, but he was a great winner. All right, but I'm already up to 5 minutes already with this intro, but let's get it started.
What is the bigger problem? Is it Baker, his mouth, or OBJ?
It's OBJ, meaning Baker with OBJ. And let me explain. And first of all, Molly, for the
Odell Beckham Jr., since he was traded to the Cleveland Browns, and this is what I hate. Odell Beckham Jr., since he was traded to the Cleveland Browns, have been quiet. You didn't hear nothing. You didn't see him in the news. Nobody's talking about him. The only thing that people are really saying in any negative light about this kid was the first game when he got blown out by Tennessee. He wanted to wear a watch onto the field or something like that, which was a stupid thing to nitpick about. It's a stupid thing to nitpick about. To be honest, I think putting anything on your shoes and wearing them out there, I mean, because it's not like you're doing it with sincerity. You're doing it so you could get on TV. To be honest. So I think doing anything like that is kind of ridiculous. But if we're going to sit here and point him out, we got to point everybody out. Odell Beckham Jr. has been a model player in the NFL since he was traded to Cleveland. In my opinion, I think he's trying to separate himself from any negative public face that he has. Apparently, he's trying to separate himself from those things. But I guess it's not enough. No matter how far you run, your past always catches up with you.
I would appreciate you if you remembered, because you remember a lot of things other people say. I was the one that said Cleveland ain't make a play, they didn't make the playoffs. Everybody was going.
I thought that was me.
No. Oh no, really.
Now everybody wants to go back on Cleveland, and everybody wants to bash Cleveland now. When about 80 to 85% of the sports media was on the Cleveland Browns bandwagon after the Odell Beckham Jr. trade.
Right. This dude had him in Super Bowl contenders.
You're right.
Like, they ain't making the playoffs.
Let me do this again. Max was the one who picked him to go to the Super Bowl.
I got it.
Stephen A. didn't believe.
Right, let's stick to Cleveland.
Made a lot of people look like fools. Not start pointing fingers.
Here's the deal. That's fair enough. Here's the deal. Odell Beckham Jr. is a problem for Baker Mayfield because Odell Beckham Jr. is illuminating the deficiencies of Baker Mayfield. The fact of the matter is, you have a talent like Odell Beckham Jr. Why does this man have the numbers that he has? It is.
Yeah, Odell Beckham, I would agree, but to a certain extent. Odell Beckham Jr. is only illuminating the deficiencies that Baker Mayfield has. If you didn't see those deficiencies last year, if you fed into the hype. So he didn't illuminate anything for me. Like, I already had my questions about Baker Mayfield at the end of the season last year. Because people were saying this kid is ready for prime time. And mostly it was like Skip Bayless, who's a huge Oklahoma fan. So he pretty much loves every quarterback that comes out of that college. And people like that, they propped this kid up, made this kid think that he was better than he actually is. And Baker Mayfield fell subject to one of the issues that the NFL has when it comes to these young players. When you have success in your first year, second year, third year, sometimes even your seventh year, when you have success that is rare or not rare, when you have a success for the first time in your career, for Baker, it was his rookie year. He had success. When you have that kind of success, you think, I don't have to do much. All I have to do is improve on what I'm doing, add to what I'm doing, and I should be better. Instead of trying to change your game as much as you possibly can. The NFL is notorious for learning and adapting. And I've said this for a very long time. The NFL is notorious for learning and adapting. This is why you'll see players who had great years one year usually don't really follow up with a great year the next year. So, I think Baker is learning that. Look at Leonard Fournette, his rookie year. Leonard Fournette's rookie year, he was a phenomenal running back, 1,000-yard rusher. He said the NFL game is easy. It's as easy as college is. And his second year, he played well. That was the year they went to the AFC Championship game. He played well, but he didn't have that same impact his rookie year. And now look at him. I mean, this dude is literally getting stopped before he's even able to reach the the line of scrimmage. It's not so easy. And anybody with that mentality will fail. Baker thinks it's easy. Baker thinks it's easy. And who I blame for that? The Browns organization. They gave this kid their confidence. They made him think, look, you're our guy. We're going to do whatever you need us to do to help you be successful. Instead of putting that confidence in a head coach to teach this kid what he would need to know to be successful in the NFL. So, the last rookie head coach that I saw that was in the NFL that was extremely successful his first year and even more successful his second year was Sean Payton. But Sean Payton had the benefit of getting Drew Brees in free agency that year. They had a top 5 pick. They drafted Reggie Bush. They also had a slew of they had a running back that was already a pretty established running back. I believe Deuce McAllister was still there. And I believe they also, this second year, I believe they brought in Marquise Colston, who became their number 1 receiver. I mean, the things we see Michael Thomas do, or we're seeing him do now, we used to see Marquise Colston do those things, but Michael Thomas is at a higher level because I think he's a far more athletically gifted than Marquise Colston was, but Marquise Colston was a big-time threat. That's the last head coach we saw early on in his career to have success. Because the front office put their confidence in Peyton. They did not put their confidence in Brees. They did not hand the keys over to Brees. They handed the keys over to Peyton. And that was the perfect marriage. Just like the Patriots. Belichick had the keys. And Brady adopted the philosophy that Belichick wanted him to adopt, and everybody followed Brady because they respected him. That's how it goes, man. If your quarterback is more respected than your head coach, I'm sorry, and don't get what I just said mixed up. They respect Belichick very much. They respect Peyton very much. But they respect Brees and Brady as an extension of the head coach and not usurping the head coach. So right now, Baker seems to have more power, more juice than Freddie Kitchens, man. And that's how you destroy a locker room. Because if we look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin, that's the issue they were having, or they still are having, is that Ben Roethlisberger obviously doesn't respect Mike Tomlin. He sees the team as his and not Mike Tomlin's. And I'm pretty sure the players in that locker room respect Ben Roethlisberger more than they respect Mike Tomlin.
It's that simple. Odell Beckham Jr. has, what is it? I mean, what are we talking about here? Two
catches for 39 yards yesterday.
Really? You talking about Odell Beckham Jr. here. You're talking about, and don't get me wrong, we understand
that. He has 2 touchdowns on the year.
He has 2 touchdowns on the year, and one of them was the second week of the season, so he's only had 1 touchdown pass in 11 weeks.
And the other one was against Cincinnati.
There we go. All right, and the other one was against Cincinnati. So understand something here. We're talking about one of the great talents in the National Football League at the wideout spot. They can't get the ball. Now, obviously, that's about Kitchens more so than anything else. You're not targeting him in the red zone. We get all of that. But Baker Mayfield, because he continuously makes headlines, because he has more commercials than wins, more commercials than damn near as many commercials.
And who is to blame for that? The media. They prop this kid up as the next big thing, and this is what happens. It's like Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons in Philly. Their second year together. They make it to the second round of the playoffs and play as the Boston Celtics. Before they got to that series, it seemed like everybody picked this team to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Everybody. I'm everywhere I look, they're saying Philly has the best chance of beating LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Go back and look it up. Everybody. Philly was a massive favorite in the playoffs. And then what happened? They got bounced in the second round in 5 games to a team that was an underdog in every single series they played in that year. When you put these young kids on a pedestal, make them think that they're gods and they're not, they get humbled. Now look at the Philadelphia 76ers. They can't seem to get it done. And they keep getting bounced out in the second round. Now, I don't want to analyze what the tears of Joel Embiid meant or anything like that, but I would not be surprised if it was disappointment, because he was looked at as a favorite, a god. Like, they called him the best big man in the league, which is debatable. I think that he has so many deficiencies in his game that I see when I watch him play. I think he's more of an oversized small forward than an actual center. But he was blessed with the size. Just like Ben Simmons. He was blessed with size. He was physically gifted. I mean, Ben Simmons is as fast as any point guard I've seen. I mean, he is. He's just as quick. But he's like 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", somewhere around there. He's a power forward that can move like a guard. He just can't shoot like one. This is what happens when you prop him up, man. This is what happens when you... And this is why I say Lamar Jackson is in... I would be surprised if he's the first player that I've seen that is able to avoid this. But Lamar Jackson is most likely going to be on the chopping block pretty soon. And what I mean by that is when his play declines, when the team's play declines, when they don't live up to the expectations that people have for him, he's going to be berated like Baker Mayfield is right now. He may not be as badly berated because Baker Mayfield can't keep his fucking mouth shut, which is making it worse for him. But he will be looked at as a disappointment because we're all propping him up. Oh, Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the league, and he's doing something we've never seen before, and this is the kind of thing you can sustain for a long time, and this kid is only going to get better. Okay, I'll believe it when I see it. But if history has any indication, it will not work. And I've already let my feelings be known on the whole mobile quarterback thing, but, you know.
Just touchdown passes. I mean, Progressive alone's got like 7 to 8 commercials with Baker Mayfield. I mean, about 7 to 8. Progressive. I mean, damn. Talk about it's only in America. I mean, give me a break. When you complete less than 60% of your passes, got 50 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. You just listen. I like Baker Mayfield. Believe it or not, I like him as a person. I believe in him as a talent. I think there's an upside there. I think he needs to watch his mouth. But
I don't like Baker Mayfield as a person. I think that he comes across as arrogant, bossy, totalitarian. I think that he has a super high opinion of himself, and he sometimes forces his power on the players that don't have as much power as he does. Shit, I fucked that one all up. As he does. Case in point, Duke Johnson, and the way he tried to railroad this kid in the media, talking about you either get on the train or you get left behind. Like, bro, what are you talking about? You haven't even been there long enough to say some shit like that. It's kind of like what the ref said to Cam Newton when he asked him, are you going to call anything? And the ref said, you're not old enough to get those calls. What makes him think that he's old enough to check some guy in the locker room that all he wants to do is his fair chance at starting? Now, does anybody really believe if Duke Johnson would have stayed in Cleveland, he would have had a fair shake once Kareem Hunt came back? It would have been the Chubb and Hunt show, and Duke Johnson would have been the forgotten third wheel, and he knew that, and that's why he was upset. Because when Duke Johnson was drafted, he was looked at as at some point you're going to be the guy. And then they drafted Chubb. And then they bring in Kareem Hunt. He was already forgotten. And now he's having a great year with the Houston Texans. And I think Baker handled it so poorly. And it showed his true colors of his personality, man. Like, I mean, guy, he's arrogant. And now people are starting to see it. He's very arrogant. Only arrogant people will be on the field of a college bowl game, I believe, and grab his nuts on national TV. Only an arrogant person would do that.
Particularly when you throwing your medical staff under the bus. That's exactly what the hell he did. He threw him right under the bus. But I'm going to tell you something right now. To have Odell and Jarvis Landry with Nick Chubb in that backfield, and then Kareem Hunt got added, and you can't do anything with Odell Beckham Jr. There is no greater indictment against Baker Mayfield than that.
Let me tell you what the problem for Baker.
Yeah, his character is a bigger indictment. His character. This kid is not a leader. And before Max starts, I'm gonna end this video, man. I'm gonna start a new one. I hate when these videos run so long. I gotta get better with breaking them down a little bit more. But I'll be trying to add as much info as I can in these videos. That's why they run as long as they do. But his character is what's preventing him from being the leader he needs to be. His personality is what's doing that. Just like Devin Booker in Phoenix. His personality is preventing him from being that killer that he could be. I mean, he shows signs of that. Like scoring 70 points against the Celtics. He shows signs that he can get the job done. But to be that player on that level, it has to be a mentality 24/7. Every time you step on the field or on the court, you have to have that personality. It's either kill or be killed. If you lead your team through action and not through words like Baker tries to, they are more inclined to follow you. He knows nothing about being a leader. He is not a leader. And in my opinion, he might not ever be. Because you're not this arrogant this early on in your career. Arrogant, not confident, arrogant. This early on in your career, and you somehow find a way to turn it around and be a better person to your teammates, to the coaching staff, to your organization, and stop doing so many damn commercials and focus on playing on the field. But that's it, man. I'm gonna start a new one.